Today, pixel shift. Nikon added pixel shift shooting to the ZF. You can bet it's going to be in future cameras. We'll talk about what it is, how it works, how to create images with it, and how to incorporate it into your standard editing workflow. Well, hey everyone, it's Hudson. Welcome to this week's video. So pixel shift shooting is something kind of new for me. You know, other brands have had it for a while. I've talked to photographers about it. They say, well, you got to use proprietary software and you need to have still subjects. And I've always thought, well, it's interesting. And then I was surprised to see the Nikon ZF have pixel shift shooting, listed as you can do 4, 8, 16, or 32 frame pixel shift shooting listed as its specs. And so I immediately went out and tested it. I got this camera right before Scotland, and I got some really great results doing pixel shift shooting. And I was surprised how easy it was to integrate into my standard Lightroom editing workflow. So I'll go over, what are the differences between each setting, 4, 8, 16, 32, what's the camera doing inside. We'll create a pixel shift shot here in the studio since the weather is just crap here in the Northwest right now. Well, it's great for us skiers, but it's not great for outdoor photography. And then I'll show you how to assemble those pixel shift images in Nikon's software just as the front end of your workflow before importing the images into Lightroom. It's pretty cool stuff. I think you might be surprised, and it definitely is a tool worth integrating into your arsenal of photographic techniques. So let me get things set up, and we'll walk through creating some pixel shift images, and I'll talk through what the camera's doing while we're doing that. All right, so here's the studio setup. I've got a color checker that we're shooting in between my Leica Q3, my Nikon Z50 with a cute little 10mm TT Artisans lens that I'm testing for DX. Pulled the 50mm off the ZF, set the ZF with the 105 Nikkor macro lens, the MC, up on my ultralight tripod, and I plugged in my Anchor USB-C power delivery battery pack, so there's no chance of draining the battery. I'm running off that battery pack. And through the magic of technology, I'll just throw what the camera's seeing up right here. I'm in a really clean view. I've got that color checker in the frame. I can focus in. I can do that manually. One thing I love in the clean view is the ability to just position my focus point right where I want it. So in this case, right over the text here, and I'm just going to autofocus where it says X right here on the color checker. And you can see that's getting this nice and razor sharp. I hit the OK button. These are my custom settings to zoom in to 100% zoom out. I'm hitting the playback button to change display. In my setup, I like the playback to be on the display button and the display to be on the playback button. That's all in my setup video for the Nikon ZF. You can click right here to check out that setup video if you're interested. But at any rate, we're going to go in here. And we're nice and focused. We made sure that our settings are manual mode, 1/100th of a second, f2.8, 6400 ISO. If I take this image in these darker conditions at 100th of a second, which obviously I could go slower on the tripod, but in this case I kind of want to use a higher ISO. Why? Well, that's one of the things that pixel shift can buy you is a cleaner, lower noise image. So I want to check that out. And I also want to just make sure that, with our angles on the color checker, we're getting an even greater potential amount of sharpness. I'm going to stop down to f3.5 and I'm going to boost that ISO up to, let's see, where would we go? 10,000. Maybe we'll go to f4. Let's take it even another third of a stop. Let's go up. Balancing that exposure meter out, we're at 12,800 ISO. So that should be a relatively noisy single frame shot, even with this amazing low light sensor. One of the reasons why I'm doing this is this sensor is so good in low light. Zooming in 100% again, you can see that our whole color checker scrolling around 100% on the sensor. It's nice and sharp. All right, lots of detail even in the out of focus elements like the Leica symbol back there. Okay, all right. Push the OK button to come back to fit view in my viewfinder or on the display as I'm using right now. Let's take a look at your pixel shift options. And if I hit the menu button, your pixel shift options are actually contained in the very bottom of the photo shooting menu. If I go to the top of the photo shooting menu and press up, it takes me all the way to the bottom, and that's where pixel shift is. Now, for anybody who's done my setup guide for the ZF, I put that near the top of the My menu, so I can always easily access it, along with all the other things I do a lot of. So I'm gonna go ahead into pixel shift shooting. Actually, let's take a single frame of this. Just, there's nothing on my card right now. If I hit the button, the folder contains no pictures for playback. We're focused. Just double check that again. I'm always a little ridiculously critical of making sure that I'm focused, making sure I have all my exposure settings exactly the way that I want. I'm gonna take a single frame, all right? And it's 100th of a second, 105 millimeter on a tripod. I don't need a cable release or anything. We hit play. I zoom into 100%. It's nice and sharp. No problems there. Okay. So now let's take a look at what pixel shift shooting can do for us. I'm going to go into the menu, go into pixel shift shooting, and I want to talk about all of these settings and what they do for you. So if we go back to the main here, we can turn pixel shift shooting on for a single photo or for a series of photos. All right. I'm going to just put it on. I'm going to put it on for a series because we're going to shoot a number of them here. If you put it on for a single photo, it's just the next photo is pixel shift, and then it's back to standard shooting. Number of shots. You've got a choice between 4, 8, 16, and 32. All right. What does each one of those do for you? Well, it's interesting. So with pixel shift shooting, 4 shots moves the sensor so that it captures every color on every pixel. The way the camera generally records frames, each pixel is only getting to record one color, and then it's all mosaic together, blended to create smooth color across all the pixels. And the way the pixels are read is red, green, green, blue. So it's RGB, but green has twice as many reads as red and blue. When you put it into pixel shift shooting 4 frames, what it does is it moves the sensor using the IBIS system in the camera, the in-body image stabilization, and it shifts it so that every pixel gets red, every pixel gets green, every pixel gets green, every pixel gets blue. So each and every pixel is recording all 4 colors. So there's less mosaicing, less potential chroma distortion, color distortion. So it's a clearer and more detailed, rich color capture is essentially what it's doing. So we'll pick 4 for this first one, all right? We'll talk about the next ones next. You can set a shutter delay, which is basically like having an exposure delay. We're going to delay 2 seconds. You can add an interval between each shot if you want to. I'm not going to do that. And essentially, as you close this menu down and hit the shutter button, you'll start pixel shift shooting. So I'm going to press the shutter. It's going to wait 2 seconds. And it's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, done, all right? And if you hit play now, we have 5 frames. We took 1 individual frame, and we took 4 pixel shift shots, all right? Let's go in and talk about what happens if instead we choose 8 frames. If you choose 8 frames, it does everything it just did, but it does it more than once and averages the values of those images for noise. So it's looking for random differences between each of those frames that it captures in each color. And with 8 frames, you should get, it's not any more resolution, it's still a 24 megapixel file with better color rendition, and with 8 frames, it should have less noise as well. So it's basically like stacking in star photography capture, right? So let's set it to 8 and run another one. I'll push the button, I just see the green light, it's taking it a second, then the green light blinks a few times, and we should have 13 frames now, right? If I hit play, we have 13 frames. Okay. Now let's talk about the higher megapixel capture that pixel shift shooting can do. All right, so we'll go in, and instead of 8, we're going to choose 16. When you choose 16 frames for pixel shift shooting, what it's going to do is it does exactly what we did with the 4 frames. It's going to move and capture every pixel, each of the 4 individual colors. All right. Then it's going to shift, and it's going to do it a half a pixel away. So it shifts just a partial bit, not an entire pixel, a half a pixel, up down, left, and right. And so what it's doing is it's capturing all 4 colors at more than 1 pixel location. By shifting it a partial pixel, it increases the pixel density of the image. It's not a 4 times resolution increase. That's a complicated sort of optical engineering thing, but it does have 4 times the number of pixels. So you go from 24 megapixels to 96 megapixels with better color potential in it because it's sampling all 4 colors at every pixel site for those 96 megapixels. So we'll choose 16. I'll go ahead, I'll hit the button, all right, and it waits just a second, and then I see the green light's just solid and it's done pretty quick. If I hit play, suddenly we have 29 images, all right. Now, let's go in, we'll hit menu, and we'll go into our number of shots, and we'll pick 32. So what does 32 do? 32 is for the 96 megapixel image. Moving from 16 to 32 is the same as moving from 4 to 8 if you're sticking to the 24 megapixel pixel shift shooting. So what it's doing is it's doing all that color rendition, shifting everything quarter pixel up or half pixel down, half pixel left, half pixel right, capturing all 4 colors. And then it's doing it multiple times and averaging the random noise out of it to get you a cleaner image at the same ISO. So you get all the benefits that you got at the 8 frame 24 megapixel image in a 96 frame ultra high resolution image. So let's try that one out. And it gives me a little delay. The green light is on for a longer period of time now and done. All right, so if I hit play, now I have 61 images. All right, so you know the one thing that's going to muck all this up is if you're photographing in wind and leaves are blowing around or things are moving through the picture. And you know, when we get in and we take a look at some images that I've done pixel shift shooting on, I can show you that the movement in a city doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. I haven't pushed this too far with flowing water or leaves in the forest, but those are experiments to be done, and I would recommend you guys go out and experiment with it too and report back to me. So definitely for static subjects, if you're trucking around with a 24 megapixel camera like the ZF or like probably the upcoming Z6 III, I would almost guarantee is going to have this kind of feature. You wonder if they're going to put it in the Z7's successor, an even higher megapixel camera. It'll be really interesting. But I'll take this all down and I'll show you how you take the memory card out of here and assemble those pixel shift images in the Nikon software before bringing them in to Lightroom and having a look at what our results look like. All right, so we got our single frame and we've got our 4 pixel shift captures all on this little memory card. I'm going to pop it out of the ZF here and slip it into the SD card reader on my laptop. And I'm going to run over to where I have 2 Window Explorer windows open, and I'm going to open up the ZF and the folder containing, I guess I was using it with the Leica before, it'll be in the ZF folder. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to drop that folder right on, actually I don't even need this open, I'm just going to drop this right onto my desktop. This has all those files in it, okay? And yep, nice fast reader, flying in there, a couple hundred megabytes a second, 250 megabytes a second, not bad for SD. Ooh, done, okay. So we can go ahead, we can shut this down, and now the next part of this is opening up Nikon's NX Studio, which is some software that I have never been a huge fan of editing images in. It almost made me sort of hesitate when I realized I had to download it and use it to do pixel shift images. But I will say that Nikon makes it nice and easy to do pixel shift work in this. So right now, you can see you navigate this folders pane on the left to the actual folders on your computer. And in this case, we want to be in our desktop. And you can see I've got this folder of images from the Nikon. There they all are. All right. And you can see the first one doesn't have this little pixel shift image. And we are only going to be in NX Studio for a little while. I'll put a link to where you go to download NX Studio. The two good things I can say about it are that it does a really fine, efficient, easy job of assembling pixel shift images from the Nikon cameras, and it's free. And you don't have to spend that much time with it other than that. So here you can see, we got all these images, including all these pixel shift images, and all you have to do is open the folder containing those pixel shift images that you captured. And you'll see right up here, you can got customized picture control, edit video, other laps, but one of them says pixel right up here at the top. And we're gonna go ahead and click on that, searching through the images, and lo and behold, it sees all of them. It sees a 32, a 16, an 8, and a 4, just like we shot. So to perform a pixel shift merge, choose a series of pictures shot using pixel shift. I can just click that button to say all, current selection 4 series. The merge mode is to generate one image from each of those series. You can read more about pixel shift shooting here. It's good to have it remove chromatic aberration. And you know what? Let's put those images, we'll put the pixel shift images right back in that folder on the desktop with the raw files, all right? Here we go. And I don't need to worry about naming because when I import them into Lightroom, I'll name them, okay? All right, here we go. I'm gonna hit start. And it's gonna take it a little bit of time. Let's see. I'll count how long it takes. I probably won't make you sit through and watch it all. It took it about 2 minutes. Not too bad at all, really. I want to come in here and I'm going to put 2 stars on our single keeper image. And then I want to scroll down here to the bottom. Let's see, did it create? Let's see, NEFX. Here's our 4 merged pixel shift images, NEFX, each of those. I'm going to mark those as 2 stars each so we can really easily identify those when we bring them into Lightroom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them over to my Mac computer where I have Lightroom running, and I will screencast going through these particular NEFX merged images. You know, it was a real delight to me when I realized that if I imported a folder that included these merged pixel shift files, Lightroom saw them just like any other raw file. So let me show you how that works. We'll just jump over, well, first I'll move them onto my network attached storage drive, and then we'll pull them up in Lightroom. All right, here we are over on my studio computer, and I have my network attached storage's operating system open here. I'm just gonna go ahead and fire up Lightroom. My T7 Shield drive is actually installed here. Actually, I think I just did an update to Lightroom, so maybe this takes a little longer than normal opening Lightroom Classic. But we're gonna open it up, we're gonna import that file. I'll show you how I do that. Here it comes, funky tinfoil dude with the strange hat. All right, and we're looking at some stuff from Australia here. Yeah, of course. And I'm gonna go into library, and what I wanna do is import those files. I'm gonna go ahead, import, and where I wanna go is in my home folder. That's my network attached storage Synology drive folder. And I just dropped those images into an inter-device share folder I have in there, and a folder I have called Photos to Import. And there is that folder with all of our files on the network attached storage. I just dropped these into Synology Drive on my laptop. Boom, they're in the NAS and they're ready to be imported. And where I want to go, I'm going to use my Studio import settings. I'll change it to ZF instead of Z9. Oops, I missed ZF instead of Z9. The shoot name will be Studio Pixel Shift. All right, keyword pixel, yeah, pixel shift. All right, building previews. Let's go 1-to-1 previews. So it just goes ahead and renders them all as 1-to-1 preview. Well, no, actually, no, we don't need it for all of them. Standard, we'll just do the pixel shift files as 1-to-1. And you might ask, you know, why are you importing all of the base files? Well, my assumption is, you know, here's a pixel shift image and then the 4 base files, and a pixel shift image and then the 8 base files, and then a pixel shift image, and then there'll be the 16 and so forth. The reason I'm keeping all the base pixel shift captures is that I assume that Nikon will improve their pixel shift algorithms, and you can go back and reprocess your pixel shift capture with even better noise and color results. That's my thought. All right, so we're gonna put them into my network attached storage, except I wanna put them in the Master Photo Library 2024 folder. We have a new 2024 folder. It's January, so I'm gonna say 01 Studio Pixel Shift. Boom, and we'll call it 2024. Boom, and I actually wanna go ahead and update this Studio import preset so that I don't have to keep doing all these changes. All right, so it's gonna add that folder, all right, and I'll go ahead and hit import. It's renaming them all, like this, the date, my camera, that's all in a template I've created here. And we'll hit import. Here they come. All right. Hopefully they'll retain some of that star information. They might not though, now that I think about it, since I'm changing the metadata. Well, let's see. They're all in, all 65 of them. Let us see. If I open up my base down here and I filter to where there's just 2-star images, nope, it didn't translate. That could be Nikon, or that could be the way that I just imported them. But our first image we knew was the single frame. And then there were 4, let's see, is the next image an NEFX? Just NEF. So 1, 2, 3, 4, is that an NEFX? Let's see where the NEFX files are. NEF, let's go, and I'll have my, let's see. So NEF, there it is, right there. I don't know why it's at that point, but there's an NEFX. There's another one, boom, right there. It's marking the NEFXs as I roll through them. We could also search. Let's see. There's one. You always know you could reopen this folder with Nikon's NX Studio. All these previews have not rendered yet. Let's see. There should only be one more, right? Or did I get them all already? Let's see, there should be 5. All right, go to 2 stars. Oh, I have them all. All right. All right. So number 3, number 8, 17, and 34. All right. And they should be in proper order. So let's just have a look here. Let's zoom in. Here's our original file. All right. There's a bit of noise in our shadows. It's not bad, right? Color looks good. Let's look with 4 frames. Nice and sharp. Color looks fantastic. Not a huge difference. You know, zooming in all the way in. Let's go to 300%. All right. I don't see a whole bunch of difference. Looking in at noise. Oddly enough, the noise, the color noise in the shadows does look better. Look at that, right there. No editing whatsoever. That's a pretty significant shift. Of course, we're at, 12,800 ISO. This just shows how amazing this sensor is, but whoo, 12,800 ISO. So there is, especially in those noisy, darker parts of the image with color, it's doing a cleaner render of those for sure, with the 4 frames just capturing all the different color. Now let's have a look at what's going on when we take 8. Woo, really nice. Coming back, going to 8. So standard, 4, 8. All right, no change in resolution. Let's just forget about all that. All right, let's come back to 100% view. Now let's have a look at our 16 frame capture. All right, so now instead of, if we look at this one at 100%, and then we go into this one at 100%, still loading. Oh yeah, these are big files. It's gonna take it a minute to do the 100% resolution preview. I probably should have just had it, whoa. Holy cow. That's 100%, that's 100%. Wow. That's definitely impressive. That is definitely impressive. Let's look at 300%. Still pretty darn good, 300%. I would say it's no better, except that there's just a lot more resolution. Coming back to 100%, that's a pretty amazing shift. And with a 24 megapixel sensor, this makes a whole lot of sense. I even think that the noise looks pretty good for being 12,800 ISO. All right, now let's have a look at it. It's gonna take it a minute to render because it's another 100% preview being built for a 96 megapixel file. Very, very big file. But there it is. Go into the darkest of shadows up here. Man, I thought that 16 was pretty good. Let's see. Not a whole lot of noise in there. Let's say we go to 300%. Okay, suddenly there's a bit of noise going on in there. Let's have a look at the same part of our image up here. You can see where I'm at up here. And go back and forth. Maybe a little less. Yeah, definitely, especially in here. Yeah, it's not massive. It's not a massive difference, but there is less noise in averaging out all 32 instead of 16. But I'm just quite impressed at that 100% resolution, what that looks like. Whew. That's just impressive. Coming back to without doing it at all. Wow. Okay. Oh, and give me 1 second. I'll navigate to a couple of images that I've done of other, both in Scotland and Seattle to showcase some results I had in the real world with this. All right, so I haven't done a whole bunch of pixel shift shooting out in the field since getting the ZF. But I do have two good practical examples to show you. One is this city scene in Seattle, which is a bit complicated by the fact that you've got, changing light, things moving around, it's a little bit more dynamic kind of a scene. This is the single frame that I captured right before the 32 frame pixel shift shot. Had my family with me. We were there on a little family trip this early winter, late fall, early winter. Here we are at 100%, all right? If we come in on the Space Needle to 300%, the image just breaks down. Trying to take 24 megapixels to 96 megapixel-ish really does kind of just gets the suck in the image a little bit. At 100%, it's nice and sharp. It's a nice, good, sharp image. Let's see what happens when we move to a 96 megapixel pixel shift capture of this scene, all right? Here we are. Fit view, let's go to 100%. Wow, we're getting about that same shot that we had at 36, or at 300% on the single frame, except it holds up as if I shot this as an overlapping series of panoramic capture. Pretty darned impressive. All right, I'll show you my favorite pixel shift to date. This is a scene that I shot in the Isle of Skye in Scotland, scouting for next fall's workshop there. And this is with the ZF, the Old Man of Store, this really spectacular feature at dawn. We didn't get a bunch of light, but it was beautiful, nice, even overcast with an interesting sky and some dimensionality. So here's a 100% view, single frame. I zoom into 300%. Again, it's like Seattle. It's just a lot to try to push it to 300% of that original capture on 24 megapixels. Now you could get a great print from a nice, sharp, beautiful file like this at 24 megapixels, but I also shot it as a 36 or 32 frame pixel shift capture, and let's have a look at what that looks like at 100%, and once again, it holds up nicely at 100%. So is pixel shift useful in the right scenario? I don't think there's any question. Okay, so there you have it, pixel shift shooting. And I am pleasantly surprised by how nice a job Nikon's done at its initial iteration of this software. I think that, or this capability in the ZF camera. And I'm pretty certain you're gonna see it in future Nikon cameras. They've put enough effort into it. They've integrated it into their NX Studio software. I think that if you have a relatively static scene that you want maybe to create a big print from, it's a really cool way to make 24 megapixels much, much more. So when I'm running around with my ZF and I've got a tripod, why not shoot it straight up as a single frame and try out some pixel shift shooting. Plus, if things aren't moving, that built-in stacking, shooting 8 frames, you're just gonna get a lot less noise. That was really, really evident. The minute you jump up into the higher megapixel range, it's gonna take longer for your captures. There's more potential for things that are moving in your scene. I think it's probably better suited to a little bit faster shutter speed, but because you get such great noise reduction built in with that stacking, with it averaging out noise from the multiple frames, you can shoot it at a higher ISO and still get a lot more quality out of it. So it's a cool feature. On the negative side, you do have to jump into Nikon's NX Studio, and I think those out there who love Nikon's NX Studio are in the minority of Nikon users. On the plus side of that, you don't have to be in there very long, and they made it play well with others. So it's cool stuff. It's definitely worth trying out. I hope you guys that have the ZF will experiment with it. I hope those of you who are holding out for some future Nikon iterations of the Z6, Z7 system, Z5, even the Z50 and new APS-C versions of the cameras, will be excited when pixel shift comes to check it out. You can look back at this and see how to work with it. So a little window into me being pretty impressed by it. All right. So we had a great series of office hours this week where we had the big free group photography get-together meeting with Rick, Woody, David, Darren, and talked about resolutions for 2024, ideas, things that we want to do moving into the future of this year photographically. We're going to have more office hours coming up soon. Those are always great get-togethers. We do a lot of Q&A, a lot of group discussion. It's just a free venue to get together and talk about photography. You can check out the replay of that by clicking this link. You can also sign up for the next set of office hours that we do over at hudsonhenry.com/office hours, and a link to that is right here too. So you can run over there and sign up and join us on Zoom or YouTube. We always archive it afterwards. They're Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm going to be heading off to Baja next week for a good friend's birthday celebration, doing some kite foiling at the same time. And I'll be doing some action photography down there. So maybe I'll bring you along to Baja, a little bit of warmth and sunshine as winter sets in here, at least in the Pacific Northwest. And it's a welcome thing. We've had it way too warm up till now. So I hope everybody out there is enjoying whatever weather they have, wherever they are, being safe, being creative, attending to those new plans and ideas, and getting after 2024. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.